On this episode, I'm going to be running through my 5 best tips to help you actually be able to keep the fat loss results you get forever.
This is the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast.
Our mission is to help as many people as possible get the information they need to achieve their fat loss goal and be able to keep those results for life. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me on the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast. And I'm going to be solo here for a little bit. Nick's taking a little bit of a step away. And so you're just going to be dealing with old Alex here for a while. And I got an awesome podcast for you today. It's all around 5 of my best hacks to help you actually keep the fat loss results you get forever. Because as we know, that is the mission of our podcast, to help all of you be able to keep the results that you get forever, not just for a little bit, not just, I lose the weight and I gain it back. Just like what goes on all the time in the health and fitness industry. We want you to be part of that percentage that actually be able to live with these results, that actually finds the tools needed to keep the results for life. That's what it's all about. And so before we get into that, I'm on day 46 today of my 90-day challenge and what I'm doing right now. So I've just continued to challenge myself, continue to just increase what I'm doing, to continue to basically try to grow more. That's what it's all about. That's what everything I do is about, growth. That's what I've made my whole goal, is just how can I grow? How can I become a better person? How can I develop more character? How can I get into a point where I'm the best coach I can possibly be, the best speaker I can possibly be, the best podcast host I can possibly be? All of these things are going towards that. And so right now what I'm doing is I have a 45-minute workout daily. And that doesn't necessarily have to be lifting. That could be running. That could be basketball, racquetball, yoga. I've done that once. And that is tough. It's getting harder for sure. I've been in a calorie surplus for the first 45 days. And so I've been fueling my body accordingly. And it's feeling good still, but I'm starting to get to that point where it's becoming a lot of exercise. And this isn't about the exercise. This is about the mentality. This is about the discipline that I'm developing throughout this. That's the whole goal of this 90-day challenge. And so I got the 45-minute workout. I got 45 minutes of reading. So I started at 15 minutes, now up to 45 minutes of reading. And it's crazy how quickly you can get through books when you're reading 45 minutes. And so it's been awesome. I've been just crushing books, loving it. It really puts me into a good headspace. And it's also something I like to do before bed. I like to shut off the TV around 30 minutes before I go to bed. I'll watch Grey's Anatomy. As I've talked about, I'm a big Grey's Anatomy fan right now. I think I'm on season 13 or 14. Which is sad. Honestly, it's sad how quickly I've gone through this. But anybody who knows me knows I love my shows. And I probably could make another blog about TV shows, honestly, if I wanted to. But we got the 45 minutes workout, the 45 minutes of reading. We got a 45-minute outside walk. So I'm making sure I'm getting my steps in. I'm making sure that this little gal below me here, Coco, gets her steps in as well. That's a huge thing. I realized that I was really slacking on steps. So I decided to increase that to 45 minutes. And it's become difficult this week because it is fucking cold outside and I'm freezing my ass off when I go out there, but I'm braving it. I'm making sure I get through it. And we have one more day of cold. Today, it's like a high of 0 here in Minnesota. But then after this, it goes to the 30s. And so it'll be really easy to walk in the 30s, especially after 30 will feel like fucking 60 after what we've had here recently. It was like negative 20 overnight. Super cold this morning when I went to the gym, and it's just been brutal. So I got that. I got 30 minutes at least of just like interacting with people online, making sure that I'm providing value. One post a day. Actually, I've had 2 posts a day just of value on social media here over the last 45 days. I also have a gallon of water. That's been honestly so easy, especially with me working out every day. I have that done at a very, very early time, especially with sauna. I go to the sauna at least 5 days a week whenever I'm at the gym. I'm going to go to the sauna. And so I just pound water after that. I need so much more water. That is a tip. If you are doing the sauna, make sure you're getting more water in. You don't drink the same amount of water that you're drinking. You're probably going to need more water because it's going to just like you're sweating out so much shit. You might even need electrolytes. I love LMNT. It's called Element. They have amazing electrolytes. They're a little bit more spendy, but I think they are more than worth it They have really good tastes. I get like this big box, like 4 of their boxes. I think it's like 120 of their packets for 100 and I think it's $117. It's a very, very good deal in my opinion. I'll do like a half a packet at a time because they do have a lot of electrolytes in them. And I'll do like one before the gym to kind of make sure that I'm all fueled up, got all the water, I'm all hydrated, and then I'll do one after the sauna just so that I get a little bit more, kind of replace some of that sweat. But that's what I'm doing. And so I have that. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I have another thing in there that I'm not saying. But let me see. What else do I got? What else do I got? I use a tracker. I use a tracker throughout this. We got, no candy and no baked goods. So no candy, baked goods. And then I added a sauna talk. So one thing I did to kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit is that I'm adding in every time I'm in the sauna, I have to do a video, a recap of my workout, whatever it is. I have to do a video. The thing is like I hate recording myself in front of people. And so I am trying to get past that fear. And so it's helping me. I kind of go in there and I just like, hey, what's up? Like day 46, like we got it done today. And that's just what I do. But it's been good. I love doing this. It's definitely something I recommend to everybody, but I've talked about it plenty on the pod, so I won't go into it anymore. I will get right into today's episode. So like I said, today is all around lifelong results, which is kind of the purpose of our podcast. So I wanted to, since we just recently switched and have our mission really all around fat loss forever, all around lifetime results, all around not being the people who, lose the weight and put it back on, and just helping all of you be one of those people that's in the percentage that actually keeps the weight off. I have 5 of my best hacks today, 5 of my best tips around things that you can do from basically start to finish, right? Like it has nothing to do with where you're at in your journey. These are all things that you can do that everybody can switch on. If you're like following some fucking plan that doesn't serve you, that isn't really fitting into what's going to work best for you long term, I suggest you take these tips and you start to bring them to heart so that you can actually be a part of that fucking percentage that keeps the results. That's what we want for all of you. We don't want you to keep struggling. I've been through way too many struggles. I've been that person that always goes for the quick fix. I've been that person who tries everything in the book, who Googles everything, who's like, well, how can I lose fat as quick as possible? And none of that shit works. It might work in the short term. It might feel good in the short term. It might feel good. It might feel like you're actually making tons of this progress in the short term, but the long-term results don't happen. And so today, getting right into it, number 1, my first tip on just getting fat loss results that actually stick forever is to have important goals to you. Set important goals and have a clear why behind those goals. This is huge. We've talked about this a little bit in the podcast, but you have to be very mindful and very clear about your goals. I think it's good to set these and, to be like, okay, where do I want to be? What do I want my body to look like? How do I want to feel? Kind of having these ideas in mind of how you want to feel, look, and be and act, stuff like that. Those can be very, very good goals to have. But then what I want you to do, and first off, I'll go and I want you to have a clear why. You have to have a clear, deep reason why you're actually going at your goals. This is going to be what drives you. This is going to be what helps you in the hard times because it is very difficult to change, right? And what fat loss is it's change. We're changing our body. We're changing the way we feel and we're changing our habits, right? If we keep going about things the same way we've been going about them, you're going to keep getting the same results that you have been. And so don't just think that you can keep doing the same things and expect a different result. That's not how things work. So there's going to be hard times, and this clear why and just having goals that are important to you and making sure that you're on a path that's important to you is going to be very, very huge to keeping you on that path. And to making sure that you don't stray away and that you don't quit and you don't fall off constantly. And so have important goals and then have a deep, deep reason why behind your goals. Don't just be like, I just want to lose weight because I want to feel better, right? That's bullshit. That's not going to be anything that keeps you pushing when it's fucking hard. When the week comes, and we all know this week comes that is like, what the hell happened, right? I wake up, I'm just foggy, I don't feel good. And it's just nothing's easy. It's a grind. Everything feels like it's so much harder to get done. This stuff happens all the time, right? My weeks are like this. I'm riding high, baby. I'm riding high, baby. And then it's like, fuck, what the hell happened, right? And then that happens for a week. And I've started to realize my patterns with this too, because it's impossible. I think it's impossible to just constantly have just straight drive, right? But you can have discipline. And I think that having a why helps you stay on track and helps you have a reason to keep pushing when times get tough. And what I want you to do is, once you have these goals and you have this why, detach from these goals. I am not huge on just obsessing over the goal. Oh, I want to look this way. I want to have this weight. I want to feel this way. Like, it's good to have those things, but then forget about them, right? Forget about those things and focus on work your way back from those goals to what you need to do today to get to them. What are the daily actions that you need to actually achieve the goals that you're after? And what I want you to do is I want you to find 1 to 3 things. 1 to 3 things that you can do today to challenge you, that are going to move you forward, and focus on those. Obsess over those. Stop obsessing over the way you want to be. Stop obsessing over the way you want to feel, and start obsessing over the things that are going to allow you to achieve those. And you will be much better off. You will see a lot better long-term results, and you will stop being that person that constantly falls off, that constantly obsesses over the scale and constantly finds themselves in a place where you're restarting every Monday. Number 2, my second tip to getting fat loss forever, fat loss results that stick forever, is to fit a fat loss plan into your own lifestyle. I talk about this. The podcast is honestly named the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast for this reason. We believe that everybody's different, that everybody has a different lifestyle, that everybody has a different schedule, that everybody has different foods they love. Everybody has a different exercise routine that they enjoy and that they can stick to. And there's a lot of these fad diets that people have, the fat loss plans that people have, these programs that people follow, they're super restrictive, right? They cut out a lot of foods. They maybe even cut out a full food group. And every one of these, like, I'm sure they work for some people, right? Some of them they fit right into the way that certain people want to eat or the way that certain people want to live, right? And that's amazing. But the thing that you got to understand is that that's not going to be everybody, that not everybody fits into this box, right? Everybody's different. Your schedule is different than mine. You're more stressed than me, maybe. You have different foods that you love that you can stick to. You have a different exercise routine that you just absolutely love, that gets you up in the morning, that you can stick to, that's a lot different than mine, right? And if you can start to play into your own hand and play into the things that are going to reduce the resistance between you and the plan, then you will start to see a lot better results. And so how you can do this is you can literally just go down the line of like, all right, what foods do I love enjoy? And just like have those in, like, make sure that your favorite foods are in your plan. Make sure that you enjoy an exercise routine. Don't just follow something that you think you should be doing, right? Follow something that works for you. Because in the end, what's going to lead everybody to the most success is consistency, right? We need to be consistent with something to see the best results. And when we have a plan that fits into our own lifestyle, the way we want to live, the way, our schedule, our work schedule, our, kids, like when we got to get kids to things, like all that stuff is going to play into what's the best for us. Number 3 is to eat as many calories as you can to achieve the results you're after. And so what I basically mean here is that, first off, I'm going to say what I mean here is to build up your metabolism first. That's step 1, I think, in being able to eat as many calories as you can to achieve the results you're after. Don't just start where you're at and decrease 500 calories, right? Maybe what you're eating is fucking 1,200 calories and, 500 less is 700. That's not, even 1,200 isn't sustainable for most people, let alone cutting that by 500. You're going to get into a point where you're not even fueling your body's functions. You're not even fueling your heart to beat, your organs to run, all this shit that our body have to do on a daily basis. So we get into a tough spot there. Building up our metabolism allows us to build up our calories, right? It allows us to maybe focus on building muscle for a while. That's going to allow us to burn more calories at rest. Maybe it allows us to just create that room, right? Like if I'm at 1,200 calories and my body's like supposed to be in the 2,000s as far as like just making it so I can actually fuel all my daily activity and fuel all of my organs to run, then, if I can increase my calories up to that point, I just created 1,000 more calories 22, let's say I went up to 2,200 calories, right? I just created 1,000 more calories. I'm going to be able to eat 1,700 calories and potentially lose around a pound a week. How fucking awesome is that, right? It's awesome. And you start to feel better, right? If you're not eating enough food, and your body's not going to be running optimally. It's not going to be in a place where you're able to sleep as good as you want to, where you're able to have as much energy as you want to. Stress is going to be harder to deal with for you. And so these are some of the things that can happen from eating more calories and building up your metabolism. And the second part of this is to, when I say eating as many calories as you possibly can, is to go into smaller calorie deficits. Smaller calorie deficits are going to allow us to be more consistent with them. The deeper we go, the harder it is to be consistent. The more hungry we are, the quicker our bodies start to adapt. The quicker we start to get into struggles with sleep and energy levels and things like this that can make it a lot easier to fall off. If we're in just smaller calorie deficits, 300, 500, 600 calorie deficits, these smaller calorie deficits, it's going to be a lot easier to stick to. And we're going to get slower results. We're also going to be losing less muscle in the process. When we're in deep calorie deficits, if I'm in 1,000 calorie deficit, which, maybe at the end of it, you're eating 1,000 less calories than you started with, right? Like you're going to have to go lower and lower and make sure that you're continuing to listen to your body. But if you just go into these straight 1,000 calorie deficits from the start, you're losing a lot of muscle in the process. And muscle is the most precious currency that our body has. It's the longevity currency. It's going to allow you to burn more calories at rest. And so if you're in these deep calorie deficits, you're losing a lot more of that precious muscle that we want to hold on to, because muscle is a hell of a lot harder to build than it is to lose. It's very, very easy for us to lose muscle if we just crash diet. Right. And so make sure you're in these smaller calorie deficits. It's going to be easier to stick to. It's going to be a slower process, but in the end, you're actually going to be able to keep the results because you went about it in a sustainable way. You're going to enjoy the fat loss process a lot more. You're going to enjoy and be able to navigate events that come up throughout the fat loss process a lot easier. And number 4, 2 more tips left, everybody. 2 more tips left. And make sure that if this is enjoyable to you, make sure that you share with a friend. Make sure that you like, subscribe, rate our podcast. We really appreciate all of you, and we appreciate all the listeners. And if you could do that, it really helps the podcast grow. With that, number 4, stay in your own lane. What I mean by this is just put the blinders on, right? It's so easy to look at somebody else and be like, why are they getting such better results than me? Why is Susie losing so much more weight than me, right? Everybody's different. It goes back to your lifestyle, right? Like everybody has a different lifestyle, and understand that a lot of these people, they're not going about it the right way. They're not going about fat loss in a sustainable way. A lot of these diets out there, Weight Watchers, keto, Optavia, stuff like that, a lot of it is either super restrictive or super duper low calorie, maybe even both, right? And what we get into there is it's very difficult to keep the results, because those people, they don't plan on eating like that forever, right? They don't plan on always forever not having carbs, right? They want to eat cookies and ice cream eventually. They don't plan on just eating shakes their whole life. They don't plan on just eating low calories their whole life, right? And so you get into this point where when you go about fat loss in a different way than you plan on living, once you're actually get the results you're after, it's a lot harder to keep those results. Because think about it. Like if I didn't eat any carbs throughout trying to lose weight, and then all of a sudden I start to go back and try to eat carbs, like it's my body's not used to doing that, right? I'm going about it completely differently. And so it's going to be tough to stick with it. So stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. And that's just like, really the big thing is just stop worrying about what other people are doing, right? Stop worrying about what Susie's doing, how quickly Susie's losing weight, like why your weight's not going down as quickly. If honestly, I think slow progress is good progress, because slow progress is sustainable, right? If we're losing weight super quickly, like I said, we're losing a lot of muscle. And when we're losing a lot of muscle, it's going to be harder. You're going to have to maintain your results on less calories, right? And that's not what we want, right? Don't you want to be able to eat as many calories as possible to keep your results? That's why I have people within my program that are eating 1,000 more calories than when they came to me. Just think about that. I have a client, Brittany. She's eating 1,000 more calories than when she came to me. She was eating about 1,300 calories when she came to me. She's eating 2,300 calories right now, and she's down 25 pounds. She lost 25 pounds in the process. 25 pounds. And we're about to go into fat loss phase. That's pre-fat loss phase. That was optimization, which is just building her metabolism up, getting her body into a healthy spot. Now she's sleeping just every night, like 8 hours, feeling amazing. She has high energy. Her digestion went from being just terrible, where she just felt terrible, bloated, everything, to being like an 8 out of 10 on average for her now. All that stuff in optimization. She's able to eat more calories, right? So stop worrying about what other people doing, and you're going to be in a lot better spot. And then lastly, number 5 is to basically, when you fall down, get right back up. Right? There's going to be failures throughout the process. I talk a lot about expectations. Expecting that there's going to be hiccups, expecting that it's not going to happen overnight, expecting that there's going to be bumps in the road, that it's not going to be a straight line from where you are directly to where you want to be with your weight loss. But with that comes what happens when you fall down, right? What happens when you have a rough week, a rough day, a rough meal, whatever. Get right back up. You're literally only 1 second away from being back on track. You're only 1 second away from getting back at it. It's all a mindset, right? Being on track, being on plan is a mindset. And if you can understand that and you can just keep going, and when you fall down, understand that you can't do anything about it anymore, right? I can't control the past anymore. I can't control, even if you had a rough week, right? If you had a rough week, I can't control that anymore, right? But I can control what I do now, right? I can control getting back on it. I can control getting back to my daily actions. I can control focusing on the things that actually matter and the focus that are on the things that are actually within my control. And that's the huge thing. When you fall down, get back up as quick as you possibly can and get back to the things that make you feel your best. Get back to the things that are going to fuel you and keep you on the path and keep you moving towards your goal. Because I think it is important to have those goals, but I don't think it's important to obsess over those goals. And so obsess over the things that are actually going to get you to your goal. And with that, those are my 5 hacks to achieving fat loss results that actually stick forever. And so hopefully this has been helpful for you. Hopefully you can use some of these tips and actually be able to keep your results. Hopefully, if you're somebody who's not going about it in this way, if you're somebody who's trying the quick fixes, if you're somebody who is just constantly playing these short-term plays and trying to get results as quick as you possibly can, and trying all these fad diets out there, that you can start to develop a plan from this, that you can start to understand that there's another way, and there's a way that leaves you feeling a lot better, and there's a way that leaves you with a lot better chance of actually keeping the fat loss results you get. And so I appreciate everybody listening to this. As always, please make sure to share this, to rate us, to like, subscribe, all that stuff. We appreciate all you. Thanks again for watching and listening, and I'll be talking to you soon.